And there we go. So if I manually dial in the focus here, that is actually pretty insane. That is cool. Hey everyone, how are you going today? We're looking at something different and I'm kind of excited. We've had three different awesome vendors send us three very different products with different use cases that we're going to have a look at. So this is what I'm going to be doing the next few months, is doing an SBC video once a month and doing an accessory or a tool video once a month, because these are really useful and they get sent to me to try out for a reason. It's because they are relevant, and so I'm hoping that you'll find them relevant too. If not, that's all good, but I'm still going to check them out. So as a quick overview, we've got the Thermal Master P3. Now, this is designed for PCBs. You have the TC002C Duo from TOPDON. So this is designed as a bit of an all-rounder. And then from GOYOJO, we have the GH340 handheld. So three quite different products, all designed to be really universal, all very cost effective, all on special for the Black Friday period. So for another couple of weeks. And they're all here now for us to test out with some real world use cases, including solder reflow, running an SBC, some ice cubes out the freezer, my nice cold water, and things like that. So let's get into it. So first things first, we have the TOPDON TC002 Duo. Now, I have reviewed other TOPDON products before, including their thermal cameras, but I've got a lot of TOPDON products that I thoroughly enjoy. So this one is a newer one that's a bit higher spec, more features, and we're going to try that out. Let's have a look at what it's got. Whilst we're doing that, this is a 256 by 192 native resolution. It's got a 40 millikelvin sensitivity. It's dual range, so it does -20 to 150 degrees, and then it also does 150 degrees up to 550 degrees. 2% accuracy, so plus or minus 2 degrees Celsius, that is. USB-C for Android and iPhone. Gives like a nice metal casing. 30 grams in weight, draws 0.35 watts, which is nothing. Comes with two different cables, which is pretty sweet. It's got a USB Type-C to Lightning for older Apple devices, and then it's also got a USB Type-C to USB Type-C or Type-A cable for, pretty much everything else. You've also got this nice case here, which I do like, a very, very nice feeling microfiber cloth, and a little instruction manual on here. So we're not going to dig through the instruction manual because most people don't actually do that. What they're going to care about is how it performs. And for that, you've got to install the mobile app, of course. So where's my phone? Here we go. What you want for this is going to be this app here, which is available in the App Store. It's Top Infrared. So that's installed, and we should theoretically, I've never launched it before, be able to dive straight in. So plugging that in, hitting agree because we don't get a say in those things. We'll allow it, cancel. I hope that was just memes that you saw. I might have to blur that. And then we pick out our device. So previously, we're looking at the TC001 Plus. This is the TC002C Duo. So if we connect that, we want to allow it. And all right, we've got some initial instructions. So to ensure accurate temperature measurements, set some parameters before you do. After inserting a thermal device, tap enable thermal imaging. That's what we want. And then what's it say here? So to ensure accurate temperature measurement, check whether the emissivity parameters are correct. So 0.95, ambient 30C, distance to spot 0.25 meters. All right, so we're going to be looking at a 1/4 meter distance. So what's that in inches? I don't know. That's going to be about probably 15 inches, I'm guessing. I'll confirm that because it is 30 degrees. And let's put my water in front of it. All right, there we can see my hand and my water. So there is AI detection built into this, which I didn't know about. I don't know what that's doing right now, but it's got a few different options. If we go, oh, I just realized I was out of the shot. All right, so you've got to log into their AI assistant. So that's everything shoving AI down everyone's throat right now. I don't want to deal with that, as I'm sure you don't either. There is something with these cameras, though, which can be a little bit of a gotcha. I'm not sure if you can hear it clicking from time to time. Well, that's warm. Oh, yeah, that's my computer screen. So you might hear it occasionally, just as I spoke. No. So what's happening, and they told me about this in support, is that there is an option in here for the autofocus mode, which is not there. Somewhere in here in the other app I could find it. And here we go. So if we turn the auto shutter off, it's not going to keep doing that, which can help you. It's personal preference, really. You might want to manually change shutter, but it does depend what you're doing. You can also see as well, this supports TISR, so we can turn that on, and that's going to give us essentially enhanced thermal imaging resolution. So let's get this Hubie A7Z that I looked at last week and have a quick look at that. There's not much going on, but if I put that down, grab power from over here, what I've done is I've stuck some tape over the SoC so it's not reflective, and that's going to give us a bit of a better view, because I learned the hard way that reflective SoCs really just don't want to play ball when it comes to thermal imaging, obviously, because it's going to reflect everything back. So now that's already starting to do something. We can see there, and it looks like we can kind of see this TSIR effect. I'm going to try to keep that in front of the camera here. So let's get that moved down. We can see the SoC really starting to heat up there. So that's already at about 35 degrees. If we turn off that TSIR, see a little bit. If you look at the header pins along the bottom there, it's making a minor difference. That is pretty cool though. So this device is kind of mid-range in what they offer. I believe they're bringing out a new one, but it's not entry-level like the TC001 like we were looking before. It's got a whole pile of features built in though. So if we quickly have a look through, you can set it to the high temperature range, which isn't going to be as useful here, but if you're doing anything really severe, that's when you're going to want to know more about it. So you can see we've got more noise in the background. We're only doing -20 to 150, so that's going to be more valuable here. We have a number of different picture options that we can set. So even an alarm, you can set it so if it picks up a certain temperature, it's going to let you know about it. We can change our color mode, and really I like the default. That's what I'm used to. But if you do have a preference, you can of course configure it how you want it. That is actually pretty cool. I do like that one too. So black and white, except for where it's hot. You've then got picture in picture and the transparency option. So with some models, you can align these. With this one, you can see up that close, it's really misaligned quite badly. Would have to go for some distance before we could get that aligned. And that's because my camera is up here on the phone and this one's down here. Now, remember, I'm not doing this at the 1/4 meter or 15 inches like they recommend. This is really close. This is about 10 centimeters or about 4 inches. We've then got a few different modes we can use. I don't fully understand all of these, but it's where it's going to be placing the temperature markers. So we can manually assign them, or we can just make it sample the full image. And you can even see some trends about what the temperatures are doing. So very, very capable, of course. That looks like a little button down there, dynamic rendering or custom mode. That's pretty cool. And of course, it's going to also do video, which I think would be quite handy, especially if you want to get a few markers on there and record how something is going to increase in temperature over time. So, yeah, there you can see that emissivity of different materials if we want to set it. So if we were to set this now to ambient temperature 30, that's fine. It says 0.2 meters, so this can only do 20 centimeters at the closest, and the material is, it's going to be about 0.95, that paper, so that is correct. So we're getting some pretty accurate readings there. If we turn the full image spots back on, it's saying it's about 47 degrees, so I'm pretty happy with that. What do you think? What would you use this for? I reckon it's very universal. I just remembered I had some ice cubes here, so I thought I'd check these out. And it's hard to keep it all in focus, but you see they're sitting at -5 degrees, which is pretty cool. And on the side, check this out, I'm going to take my thumb away. Bam. We've got some pretty cool contrast adjustments there, but you can see that thumbprint left very clearly from that residual heat of my thumb. That is neat. There is one other thing that I just realized that I do want to test with this too. I don't know if this is Linux compatible or not, so I'm going to use a cable supplied with it, this one, plug it into my computer, see what it appears with. We'll have a look at that. I'll be back in a sec. All right, so the cable it comes with, I'm not sure the deal, but the computer didn't detect it. This might be power only, but that seems to defeat the point for me a little bit. But then I just grabbed another one of my cables off the shelf and it does detect it. It picks it up as a webcam or a camera device and exposes a V4L2 video interface, but I can't get a picture out of it. It shows me all the resolutions that I can potentially access, but no picture. So I assume some controls need to be sent to it or something like that. It's unfortunate, but it is what it is. So moving on. Now, I do also just want to say that this video is kindly sponsored by PCBWay. And if you like these sorts of tools, PCBWay do have a lot of them. So you can have a look through here on their website under Module Store at the top. They have soldering irons, they have multimeters, they have scrapers like I've shown you before, they have small stands, they have toolkits with precision screwdrivers, they have mini oscilloscopes, they have mobile repair tools, they have hot plates, they've got big oscilloscopes, they've got everything that you can see here and more. And they continue to sponsor this channel, which is hugely appreciated. There is, of course, sales across the board. And you can use my link in the description for $5 off your first order if you want to get any PCBs assembled, which are as little as $5. So if you do have a project that you want assembled, you can get it for free. You just pay shipping, which is excellent. Thank you, PCBWay. Also, thank you to my patrons. So I do have a Patreon. You get early access to my videos without adverts. You get some behind the scenes information. You get to ask me questions and just be a little bit more involved. And it does go a long way. It starts at only $4 a month, which is really cheap. So it's $3 US and it makes a huge difference to me. So thank you to all of them. Now, getting back to the thermal cameras. The next one that we have to look at is this one from GOYOJO. Now, this was quite interesting, actually. Thermal Master had reached out about theirs already, which we'll look at last. And then I thought I'd reach out to TOPDON because I saw they've got a few new ones that I hadn't tried before. And then whilst they were sending something, GOYOJO reached out to me. Sorry, it's hot in here and I'm tired. And so I'm stumbling over my words a bit. But we ended up with one of these as well, which is really cool. So this thing as well is 256 by 192 at 25 hertz, I should say. It has a wide angle lens, which I think is quite cool. It's 50 degrees, which means you're going to get a lot more of your closer area in the frame. It's -20 to 550, the same as the TOPDON that we're just looking at, plus or minus 2 degrees accuracy. It's got this beautiful 2.8 inch LCD screen, which is a 240 by 320 resolution, 8 gig of memory, so 30,000 pictures or so. It's handheld, of course. It feels quite nice. It's got a good grip. You can see the sensor and the camera there. It's also on special, so this is $299, currently on special for $239 US. Does have computer connectivity. I'm not sure if that's just to transfer the images or to use it as a camera, but we'll test that out. 6 to 8 hours battery life, IP54 rated with 2 meters of drop. Tested to 2 meters of drop, it might even go further than that. And it's got auto power off with some configurable options. So looking at this straight away, it feels pretty nice. It comes with this little USB Type-C cable here. Rubbery grip handle. We've got a wrist strap there, which is really good. We've got a standard camera mount there. Now that is pretty awesome. Got our go button on the bottom and some controls up here. So there's the USB port on top. I'm hoping this is charged. Let's see what happens. Hey, all right. So you need to hold it for a few seconds to turn it on. Noted. The button feels really good. Like if this cheap Amazon one feels plasticky, it is plasticky, obviously. This feels quite sturdy. Now, they didn't say the range, but this is their handheld version, and they essentially make the same thing, but GW340, I think it is, which is in a phone connectivity format. Now, you can immediately see that wide angle lens there. That is actually pretty good. I'll move it a little bit further back from the camera so you've got better view there. Okay, so every time I click, it's taking a photo, and it's showing me the hotspot, which you can see is following the SoC, is sitting at about 49 degrees now, which is what we thought before. It's what the other one was showing. If you can hear it, this is doing that same autofocus clicking too. It's showing the maximum that it's observed so far as being 55. The lowest is 21. Let's change that by pointing it at some ice. So it's now saying the loss is, yep, minus 5.7. That's, you can kind of just see that there. And all right, pushing these buttons straight away is changing the modes, and you can see it's actually got that phantom image there, so we could align that. Is this? I don't think it's a touch screen, so that's visible light, that's thermal imaging, that's fusion, but obviously it's not quite aligned. I'm not sure if there is going to be a way to align them or if it's going to save two separate images. And it just cycles through those. So if you go up, it's cycling through them, and then if I go down, it's going through the different modes in that setting. Now I kind of do like that hotspot. That obviously isn't quite high enough range for us now. Now if we go up to visible light, we don't have any other settings there, and if we go to fusion, we do have a few more fusion options. Clicking still takes a photo, and here we go. So we've got our albums that we can go into. The date's obviously wrong. We've got our emissivity that we can change. Okay, that's got a whole pile of pre-builts. Sorry, you can't quite see that. There you go. It's got a whole pile of pre-builts, which is really handy. So I'm actually going to use the cement and concrete one tomorrow when I go look at a house that's being built. Rubber, paint, wood, brick. That is excellent. So patterns, we've got color alarms, fusion. All right, this is what we wanted. So I want to go red hot, and then can I, there's no more options than that. Distance, this lets us go down to 0.1. So in theory, that should also help fix that fusion alignment, which we can test out in a minute. Display settings, so all the different options that we can turn on. Whoops. Temperature alarms as normal, temperature range. So that's currently set to -20 to 150, the same as the TOPDON. This UI is really responsive and nice. I quite like it. Brightness, temperature units, time and date, everything like that. And I'm not seeing anything about firmware updates here. I didn't see anything in the TOPDON either, but I might have to go back and have a look at that. So that's everything in there. Now that we've just got it a little bit closer. Yeah, all right, there we go. So we can see now that I've set that 10 centimeter distance, when it's at 10 centimeters, it is actually, there we go, giving us a pretty good image. If we change that to fusion, and we'll just pick a, there we go, iron hot. Yeah, that's giving us pretty much exactly what we expected. And it's performing extremely well. I'm quite impressed at how sturdy and solid this thing is so far. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to plug it into the computer and see what options it gives us. I don't know if we'll be able to use it. I don't know if it'll pop up with some more functionality, but it doesn't hurt to try it out. So give me a tick and I'll do that. And that is a firm nope. So I plugged it in and there is a little charge icon up there now, but it didn't detect anything on the computer. So there's no data connectivity through this. So far though, I quite like that. It's probably going to be more handy if you just need to walk around and snap stuff with a dedicated tool that you can hang off your belt or something, as opposed to more specific use cases where you want to plug it into your phone and do something a bit more niche. I guess this is more of an everyday use tool. Much the same spec as the TC002, but obviously a very different design and very capable. I'm really, really happy with that so far. I hope you could see how well that worked. I'm just trying to keep everything between, you know, the camera and the object here. What I will do is I'll throw a few of these pictures in at the end, like my water that's over there. You can see I've drank about that much water so far. Yeah, these pictures I'm taking now, I'll include a few of them at the end. I'll take a few with my phone and we'll have a bit of a real world comparison. That being said, the one thing I can't see this doing is video. There's nothing I can do unless I just keep clicking to record a video. So this one doesn't have that option. Good to know. Moving on. This Thermal Master P3 is the one that I've been most excited about. So first and foremost, they reached out to me because they saw that I do work with PCBs, and it applies to SBCs as well, not just PCB design, because they've got this 8mm macro. They also have a higher temperature range, a adjustable focus lens, which they say goes down to 8mm up to 80 meters, 0.55mm resistor. Okay, so they're saying you can see a 0.55mm resistor. And they've also got their special technology included in this. So they're the super IR resolution, which of course we will have to test out. So if we start opening this up, oh, let me get something to cut that. There we go. So looking at this one, it's got that X3 enhancement technology. So 256 by 192 like the others, but a different sort of enhancement, which I don't know whether or not it's that same TSIR that the others were boasting. Quite a hefty manual in there with a warranty extension if you want it. Little case. We have a black container here with a few things. Now, again, I've also reviewed some Thermal Master equipment before, I believe. They are lovely chaps to work with, great sports as far as all my terms. And for all of these vendors, I'll leave a link to their products below because they have those discounts on at the moment and they are all great products in their own respect. So this comes in this nice little case. I do like the cases. This is a very small device with a very bloody big lens on it. Also nice and aluminium, like the TC002. Feels like a manual adjustment on the lens there. And there's that little TOPDON logo. I'm not really sure what the point of that is. All of them have this longer USB-C port now as well. So if you've got a phone case, you can still attach it. Out of habit, I take my phone case off. And what's this in here? So this is a lightning adapter. So it is iPhone and Android compatible, which is excellent. So this is the same 25 hertz frame rate as the others, but it's -20 up to 600. It's also 35 millikelvin sensitivity, so slightly better. And it's slightly lighter with only 26.7 grams and 0.32 watts of power draw. It is more expensive though. So this is $299 USD normally, and it's currently on special for, I'm trying to remember off the top of my head, $230 USD, I believe. If you want to go and get one, get them before the month is out because that's why the specials are still on. So obviously this is quite a big lens, but it's got that 8mm macro mode. I assume we're probably gonna have to be right up against things to see that. And we've already had a bit of an insight into this. There's been reviews done for the last month now. They sent these out to a whole pile of people. So I'm certainly not the first, but everyone's got a slightly different perspective. And one of the perspectives I like, and we'll link to below, is Dr. Go Louis. He does written reviews and performance tests of all of these sorts of things. So I'm not going to spoil anything that he says. He did a very, very thorough review. He gets really deep into the tech specs, where I'm more about the practical use. Just unbox it, get going, see what features you get. For this though, we want this Temp Master app. So this is the one from Thermal Master. So let me just move that camera a bit. You know, that's probably going to be easier. There we go. So again, it's stepping us through the first use. Yep, whether it's connected on the home screen, your different functions, edit and share your photos from within there. That's pretty cool. Agree to the things that you don't get to read. Gallery, settings, customer service. Interesting. All right, quite a good UI here. And they've got some user community stuff down the bottom. So let's go ahead, get this plugged in. There we go. All right, so permissions noted. Yes, yes, don't care. So it says not connected. It is definitely connected. Okay, let me just unplug this and plug this back in. Does it need to be turned on? Is that, no, that's not a power button. What if I, okay, so it's definitely picked it up. I'm just going to go Temp Master. Maybe it needs that. Yeah, okay. So if you have that issue, it seemingly doesn't proactively poll to see if the device is there. You have to open with as such. Here we can see it's got that -20 to 150, so it is doing it in stepping, which I'm guessing is two different sensors, or maybe the way the sensor is configured. Auto is always going to work well. You can hear the click there of the sensor though. Too high. What's going on there? All right, so currently in high gain mode, no need to switch. Radiometric mode. Okay, so it's the mode of the sensor being used. This is obviously not what we're after. We want -20 to 150. And again, you can hear that shutter. So they all do this. It is normal. This is just a lot louder than some others I've heard. And honestly, for the quality, I don't mind. If the quality is what they say it is, then I can deal with some clicking. And honestly, this is looking quite insane so far. Let me bring this back towards the camera. and see if I can get somewhere where we can all see what's going on. So go over this way a bit, and there we go. So if I manually dial in the focus here, that is actually pretty insane. That is cool. So this is in its X3 mode, which is enhanced. So that's off. That's on. I'm not sure which I prefer. Let's try and go a little bit closer. Let's have a look at these pins down the bottom. These are header holes. There we go. You can see, let's go to those components over there. So we've got some resistors and capacitors that we can see really clearly there. And I'm not actually seeing a huge difference in that X3 mode. It might be simply due to the temperature gradients that we're dealing with at the moment. So what can it see there? On the SoC, we're up to about 50 something degrees now. I'll adjust the focus here, dial it in a bit. Now what's interesting is obviously I've got tape covering that, but under there's a shiny bit in the middle and then a dull bit around the outside. And you can very clearly see that through the tape with the IR. This quality is insane. Options here, I don't know what these are doing. Okay, that's just my zoom options, but I can't tap on them. You need to pinch to zoom. I don't have any issues with that, to be honest. Going down the side, we have all of our standard temperature modes as far as how we want to mark the temperatures. Let's go to red hot. That's what we've been playing with. There we go. We can really see that all of that temperature, that hot zone there, the 54 degrees, is right in the middle of that SoC. We can then record video or take a photo as usual. We've got our picture-in-picture mode. So if we put this back a little bit, and so we'll go over there. I'm going to redial this focus to suit. There we go. So this is a Wi-Fi antenna in front of it there. This is weird. I can do some things. Oh no, I've got to turn that on or off first. All right, that was my bad. So again, with it being this close, we're not really going to get it lined up with anything at a distance. You will. Ignore the screen tapping then. That was just my own mistake. And then lastly, we have our standard image controls down here. So what other options do we have? There is a new firmware version. Excellent. All right, let's update that and see what that does for a moment. We've got a lot of information about the device there, which is pretty excellent. Automatic shutter, so that's going to turn that clicking off if you want to deal with it manually. You can also, of course, add the watermark for the time and the details and everything like that to the picture that you're taking, I should say. Temperature settings, you can adjust your alarms, your burn protection, which is good. Variable protection, that's pretty cool. So adding your own emissivities to it. 0.2 meters there it's saying. But of course, you've got that lens that you can focus down to 8 millimeters. So 0.08, I think that is. Other settings, language and about us. So that is cool. One thing I've really got to appreciate is that all of these work without you having to create an account. I hate things that make you create an account for no goddamn purpose. Now, we'll get this again. We'll plug it in and we'll see if the computer detects it. I heard it click, so I know it's booted up. All right, it does appear, but it's not giving us a video interface. So out of all of them, the closest to that was the TOPDON. So I reckon with some searching, someone might have done it already, or with a bit of hacking, you can probably get this thing to throw a image on the computer. This one doesn't have any data connectivity over USB, so I should say the GH340, and the P3 does appear but isn't giving a view interface. What I'm going to do at the very end is I'm going to take photos of a few static things from the same distance so we can compare them side by side. That might even be going up on the screen here. And then I'm going to take just some outdoor footage, say across the road they're doing some works. That'll give us some real world footage of what it's like at a distance, and then maybe I'll just get the tap or something up a bit close and we can have a look at that maybe 1 meter mark. Sorry, that's about a foot, but a meter's too big to see on the camera, and see how that goes. So as a conclusion, they're all really good products. It depends what you're after. If you're going to do anything with PCBs or up close devices, I'd say this is definitely the one to go. If you're going to be doing anything with buildings, climbing around, or looking at larger electronics and devices, even whole computers from a distance, I'll say this one is probably the way to go, especially if you just need to keep snapping shots and rock solid. If you need something that is affordable for everyday use and easily accessible, TOPDON. all of them seem to make some really good products. I'm really impressed with all of them. The links to all of these will be below with purchasing plus my test sample footage, images, whatever you want to have a look at. And I really value your input. If you want to see these used more in different scenarios, I'm happy to do some testing. They're going to be sitting here just in general use by me going forward. So leave a comment, ask me to take a picture of something with it that you want to see, keep it child friendly, and I'll probably do it for you. I also want to know what you think you would use them for. So thank you to TOPDON, Thermal Master, and GOYOJO for sending me these products. They are excellent, and I really appreciate your help and sponsorship with this as well. Thank you to all of you folks for watching this and liking and thumbs upping and all those wonderful things that you're supposed to do. And of course, thank you to my patrons and PCBWay for making this possible. They are the ones that actually make it possible, because right now I could be in the office being paid in my day job, but I'm not. I'm sitting at home drinking water, piss farting around with you guys, testing this stuff out so we know what we're getting ourselves into. And as a reminder, I've got review terms. None of these vendors get to say what I get to say. They don't get to proof the video before it goes out. They don't get to stipulate anything. This is my video the way that I want it, so you get a real world use case. I'd love to know your thoughts. Till next time, I hope you're having a great weekend. Take it easy.